All right. For negotiation to really work, you have to understand fundamentally an awful lot about yourself, psychologically, and also, as importantly, if not more importantly, about your opponent. So to start off, to really understand the concept of negotiation, some of you have probably seen a movie called A Civil Action with about a lawyer named Jan Schlickman from Massachusetts that was involved in an environmental case where there was a chemical called TCE that had drained into, ultimately drained and leached into the water system, and there was an unusually high level of cancer clusters in the community called Woburn from the leaching of the chemicals. So the movie is a kind of a unique look at various aspects of negotiation, but really far more importantly about psychological aspects of that. Nothing that complicated, but there's a couple things. I want you to watch this movie. It's, I think you can get it pretty much anywhere, Amazon. I don't know if it's on Netflix, whatever. But if you have a problem getting the movie, let me know. I don't think you will. If you do, I can give you access to, I have it on, I think on Amazon. But there's a couple questions from the movie I want you to think about. And the first one is, what is the movie really about? What is the civil action really about? And obviously the answer is not about TCE leaching into the water, creating a potential cancer cluster. So that's what do you really take away in terms of what that movie's about, in terms of the characters in the movie? And you will see a metamorphosis with the protagonist, which is Jan Schlickman, that will probably become quite obvious to you in terms of the way he starts out talking about handling cases as a plaintiff's attorney in the early part of the movie. But then later, what happens when the case becomes more protracted, and there's a point at which Jan Schlickman changes everything about his mindset, about his handling of the case, and more importantly about his representation of the clients. So the question really is, what was the metamorphosis, and when did that actually take place? Can you isolate maybe a moment in time or a particular, something that was going on where he changed, and what was that? And also at the conclusion of this, I want you to ask yourself, what did Jan Schlickman maybe not do as well as he really should have? And I'll give you a hint, but what he did not do well, and maybe not much at all, is something that is a fundamental problem with lawyers and clients that you see every single day. And it's terrible that this problem even exists, because it's such a fundamental thing that we really shouldn't see it creating problems, but you almost always see the problem rear its ugly head at the conclusion of a claim. So the question is, what did Jan, and you can only answer this at the very end of this, but what did Jan not do properly in terms of his handling of the case, and most importantly in terms of his relationship with the clients? So that's the third question. First question, what is this civil action really about? What do you glean from it outside of the obvious fundamental facts of the environmental pollution? So that's the first question. Second question, when did the metamorphosis occur? Or what was it at what point? And when did it become obvious to you that he changed, that Jan changed? Third, what did he not do properly in relation to the relationship with the clients? And the last one is you will see two defense attorneys, one named Thatcher and one named Cheeseman. Both represent very large conglomerate companies. But they're both very different lawyers and they're both very different negotiators. And so they illustrate some not so uncommon characteristics that you will see in your day-to-day practice. So my question is, what was one of the biggest or some of the biggest differences between Thatcher and Cheeseman? And just think about those questions while you're watching the movie, and we'll set up a board on that, because the fundamental aspects of the movie really kind of lay a groundwork for interesting dynamics that occur all the time. They may not occur just exactly like that, but at the end of the day, what they portray is not at all unusual. So I think that you'll find, if you haven't seen it, you'll find it very interesting. I'd still suggest you watch it again to answer those 4 questions, but I think regardless, you'll get a lot out of it. And John Travolta does play the Jan Schlickman.